The hefty conductor relished her authority. With a malevolent glint in her tiny, fat-laden eyes, she glared at the thin, terrified girl. "We'll be stopping at the police station to sort this out." The woman screeched. "No freeloaders on my bus, missy." Liam has not used public transport for a long time, but today his car refused to start. He did not call a driver or a taxi, deciding to take a bus for a change. As soon as he sat down, he witnessed a commotion. A petite, fragile girl in her 20s was frantically rummaging through her small purse. Her hands were shaking. She was sobbing and apologizing. "I forgot my wallet at home, honestly. Can I just get off? I'll walk." "No, missy. I won't let this slide." "To the police?" The conductor placed her hands where her waist might have been long ago. Normally, Liam would not have paid attention to such a scene. Rudeness and injustice were commonplace, but then the girl was looking right at him. Her big, frightened, bright blue eyes seemed to be pleading with him. Something tightened in his chest at that gaze, his heart skipping a beat. Liam remembered a girl from his orphanage days with the same eyes. Ellie was 4 years younger than him. He didn't recall how they became friends. Perhaps he was drawn to the girl because she resembled his mother. Ellie was often bullied. She was small, had big sad eyes, and was quite sickly. She couldn't defend herself, so Liam became her protector. At first, he wasn't very successful because he was also not very strong. Then he started to exercise diligently, and soon no one in the orphanage dared to mess with him or Ellie. But then Ellie was adopted. She was both happy and tearful. She didn't want to leave her friend. They promised to write to each other, but Liam never received a single letter. For months, he hoped every day for news from Ellie, until he overheard a conversation between the caregivers about her being taken abroad. Only then did he realize she wouldn't be writing to him. The girl on the bus appeared so vulnerable that Liam felt an overwhelming urge to protect her from the harsh world. He walked up to her decisively and put his arm around her shoulders. "Hey, sweetheart, what's going on? You brought the wrong purse again. We'll figure it out," he said to the conductor. "2 tickets, please." Such a distinguished lady, and you shout so ungracefully. "Smile, you're on a hidden camera." He thrust money into the conductor's stunned hands, grabbed 2 tickets from her, and led the girl to the back of the bus. The conductor began looking around seriously, searching for the hidden camera, and smiling foolishly. The other passengers quietly chuckled, but made sure she didn't notice. Liam kept his arm around the girl's shoulders, and she didn't resist. Instead, she buried her face in his jacket. He felt her trembling and suddenly began to whisper some lines that came to mind. "I love as I breathe, and I know 2 souls are in my body. And love is that other soul. It's unbearable and cramped together." The girl looked up at him with surprised eyes and softly asked in a pleasant voice, "Do you love Pasternak?" In the orphanage, I had only one personal item, a book of his poems. When they took me from my mom, I grabbed it and wouldn't let go. My mom was very cultured until she drank herself to death. "And where is your mother now?" "She's long gone," Liam replied sadly. He wanted to say more, but the bus suddenly braked sharply, and the girl was thrown to the side. Liam caught her and held her tightly so she wouldn't fall. The girl's name was Ethan, short for Anastasia. She explained to Liam that when she was little, she insisted that everyone call her Haley, and it stuck. Haley was a unique person. She was afraid of people, or rather crowds. When she was 6 years old, she was driving in a car with her parents when she suddenly skidded and rolled over several times. When Haley came to her senses, she saw a chaotic picture: screaming people and her father, bloodied and with a vacant look. Since then, she has avoided crowds. She refused to go to kindergarten and then to school. Her mother remarried 3 years after her husband's death to a kind, rich man, and always supported her daughter by helping her study at home. Her mother was good at it, so Haley passed all the exams with an A. However, she did not apply to any college because she had to attend classes to do so. Haley became interested in painting, and he was good at it. Her stepfather even organized an exhibition of her paintings, so today she went on a trip to attend an exhibition of her work. Her mother became ill, so Haley had to pluck up the courage and leave the house alone, and she even took the bus instead of a taxi. Liam, on the other hand, was very sociable. In the orphanage, he had promised himself he would study hard, graduate from college, and become a manager, and he succeeded. Studying was easy for him, thanks to the sharp mind and good memory inherited from his parents. He graduated from college with honors and was assigned to a good factory, where he quickly rose to a managerial position. Then came the restructuring, and he became a co-owner. At 30, Liam was very wealthy, and women constantly tried to capture his attention. He dated a few, but quickly realized they were only interested in his money, pretending to be madly in love with him, flattering him just to stay in his favor. He didn't want women who adjusted themselves to him. He sought the one true woman for him, and he found her. Liam was very late for work that day. He took Haley home and met her mother, Skylar. With her permission, he began to visit Haley often. He was happy when she opened the door for him before he even had time to press the bell. She was always waiting for him. Every minute, Haley felt like a cat when he was about to appear. In the spring, Liam went to Haley's parents and asked for her hand in marriage. Haley's mother, Skylar, was confused. "Can you, Liam, create such living conditions for Haley so that she is happy? You know how she is. She can't be a socialite. She won't go to parties with you. Would you get tired of her after a while? Understand, she will not survive betrayal. Haley is a huge responsibility. Are you willing to make such sacrifices for her?" "I'm ready for anything for her," Liam replied. "I'd even give my life for her without a second thought. How could anyone betray her? I love her very much. I swear, no one will ever hurt her." Liam and Haley had a very modest wedding. They registered on a normal day when there was no one at the registry office. But Liam spared no expense on the bride's outfit. Haley was great. The photographer girl even gasped, saying that she was the most beautiful and unusual bride she had ever seen. Haley blushed and, as always, hid her face on Liam's chest. He gently hugged her and whispered, "And you'll be the happiest, I promise you." A year later, their son Christian was born. It was difficult for Liam. The work required a lot of time, but there were also a lot of household chores. He had to take his son for medical examinations, buy various children's supplies. Haley still tried not to leave the house. She only walked with the child in the yard, but away from other mothers. Liam did it. He worked and helped Haley with their son. His friends teased him by asking, "What kind of frog princess do you have that you don't show it to anyone?" And he just smiled mysteriously, "Yes, princess," and did not invite anyone to visit. 2 years later, Zoya appeared at the factory, a good specialist and a very beautiful girl. Unmarried, she quickly got to know the male part of the team and immediately noticed that Liam was not paying any attention to her as a woman. This unpleasantly surprised Zoya, and seducing him became a matter of honor for her. Zoya used all her tricks: random collisions in the hallway, languid glances, compliments, even fainting, but it was all in vain. Then she decided to quarrel with Liam and his wife in order to offer him her magnificent breasts instead of a shoulder on which to cry, comforting him. So he found out where he lived, and when he was at work, she went to Haley's. She said through the door that she was working with Liam and wanted to tell Haley something important. Haley came out, and Zoe, without giving her name, bluntly told her that Liam had another woman he was openly dating. Haley, she says, should prepare for a divorce. Zoe was about to leave, pleased with what she had done. But suddenly she met Haley's gaze and shuddered. There were no tears or horror in Liam's wife's eyes from what she heard. On the contrary, Haley smiled sympathetically at Zoe. "Do you like him? Don't worry, a beautiful woman like you won't be alone for long if you get rid of the anger in your soul. And Liam, if he had fallen in love with someone else, I would have realized it a long time ago. But I know that he only loves me and our son. You know, Zoe, do you want coffee? We never have guests. You would be the first." And Haley hospitably opened the door to the apartment. Zoe didn't want to stay. She understood the absurdity of the situation, but without knowing why, she meekly went to the kitchen. In the evening, Haley told Liam about the guest. She couldn't hide anything from her beloved husband, but she immediately made him promise that he wouldn't punish Zoe. Liam promised on the condition that Zoe wouldn't do any more nasty things. Zoe didn't. On the contrary, she has changed a lot since that day, becoming softer and kinder. And just 6 months later, she married her classmate, who had loved her since high school, and soon went on maternity leave. As the years passed, Christian matured, graduated from high school, then university, and eventually married a charming woman named Caroline. They lived in the same city as his parents, just a few blocks away. Christian and Caroline often visited Haley, who continued to live at home, devoting his time to painting. Her works, bright and filled with light, were successful at exhibitions and sold quickly. Her works have found buyers all over the world. However, one painting always hung on their wall. It depicted Liam, Haley, and a newborn Christian in the form of an angel in his mother's arms. Liam made every effort to spend as much time with his wife as possible, although work often took up a significant part of his day. One day in the fall, Liam had to go to a new factory in the neighboring region. Haley saw him off with a heavy heart. "Please be careful, I have a bad feeling. My heart feels heavy," she murmured, hiding her face in his chest. Liam chuckled. "Haley, don't worry. We'll always be together." He kissed her on the nose and joked, "And we will die one day." Haley didn't smile, and Liam, feeling awkward, decided to call his son and ask him to spend more time with his mother during his absence. That evening, Christian stopped by to visit Haley, but not for long, as he and Caroline were going to a birthday party. He assured his mother that he would call her later and left. The next morning, Christian tried calling his mother, but she didn't pick up. He quickly got dressed and rushed to her place. He rang the bell. Silence. Using his key, he entered the apartment and found his mother in the bedroom. She hadn't woken up. Christian was in disbelief, unable to fathom that she would never open her eyes again. Her face was serene. The ambulance arrived swiftly, but the doctors could only shrug, stating she likely didn't even realize what had happened. Christian struggled with how to break the news to his father. With trembling hands, he dialed Liam's number. He recoiled when a strange male voice answered. "Jonathan, who is this?" The stranger asked. "Where is my father?" Christian whispered, already sensing something dreadful. "Liam died in an accident last night." Haley's love for her husband was so deep that she felt his pain and couldn't stand it. A few days after the funeral, Christian had a dream. His parents, youthful and radiant, were holding hands, walking through a lush field, laughing heartily. They waved to their son and called out, "Don't cry for us, son. We're happy because we're together and we'll never be apart again." Christian woke up, looked at his sleeping wife, and gently kissed her nose. "I love you," he whispered, and Caroline's lips curved into a gentle smile.